My name's Josh Osborn. I'm a medic in the Air Force Reserves. I'm with the 911th Airlift Wing. I just re-enlisted in the Air Force for an additional 2 years.
My name's Megan Osborn, and I live in Columbiana, and I got a job as a pre-K teacher and have been one for the last 7 years. I love it.
So Megan and I found out that we were going to be parents of twins, and that was a huge shock.
My plan was to finish out the school year, going to the doctor. They were always, like, everything looks great.
And I got a phone call. That's kind of when I knew something was wrong. Megan said that she needed to go to the hospital.
There was a lot of blood, and so I just thought it wasn't going to be good.
How did we meet, kid?
How did we meet?
We kind of grew up together, met in church, our families knew each other.
One time we were in the orthodontist's office, and I was too shy to say hi to him.
Your mom tried to set us up by starting that youth group.
I told him I liked him.
Started getting serious, I guess, as serious as high school kids can get.
He really wanted to date me, but I don't know what I was thinking. And so he went his own way.
I went to Valley Forge Christian College. I went to Mount Vernon Nazarene University, Youngstown State University. I have a major in criminal justice and my doctorate in physical therapy. I have an associate's in applied science from the United States Air Force. I always wanted to be in the military.
When he first wanted to join, I really didn't want him to.
She said, I'm not having that.
I was afraid of the time. He had to go to boot camp.
I ended up going into the Air Force Reserves. My squadron is the Aeromedical Staging Squadron. I'm in charge of the fitness program there. So making sure that everyone is what we call fit to fight.
I think in college is when we really decided that, we wanted to be together. I don't know, we've been together ever since. Josh made no hint that he was ready to get married, and here he had a ring all the time.
Got married in 2009. So Megan and I found out that she was pregnant.
Really a smooth pregnancy. I was exercising and had dinner in the oven, and Josh was supposed to be getting home from his clinical, and that's when I saw blood for the first time, which I'd never seen, and just was like, ugh. Called my mom, and she said, you better go to the emergency room.
They took us in right away. I knew something was wrong then. At the time, Megan was at 23 weeks, 6 days.
He said, you're dilated and, there's no stopping this. And she just rattled off all the complications that they could have. Kind of just looked at us and said, do you want us to do everything we can do? I just felt like you had to try.
They rushed her into emergency C-section. So they came out and told me that there were 2 girls. One of them was doing pretty well and the other one had lost a lot of blood. I got to go and tell Megan that we had 2 baby girls. We still hadn't picked out names, so we decided on Finley Rogue and Riley Joy. Finley was really bruised.
She was in distress probably long before she was born. The NICU doctor who delivered her, I'll never forget her saying she fought really hard to meet you guys, and so we got to hold her.
Finley had gone into cardiac arrest 5 times, and they brought her back each time, and they were asking us to let them stop.
I was really looking forward to seeing how the babies would interact with each other.
We got to hold them close to each other and see them reach out for each other, which was a really cool moment. We just kind of got to hold her as she kind of took her last few breaths, and they told us at the moment that Finley went that Riley's oxygen saturation dropped.
She had a ventricular hemorrhage in her brain and then in her lungs. A lot of babies don't survive that.
They came and told us that they didn't think she was going to make it. She was swelling with fluid because her blood pressure kept dropping. Her kidneys weren't working. They had her on an oscillating ventilator to help try to keep her lungs inflated. They let us hold her because they thought it might be the only chance we'd get. That started our 130 days in the NICU. She just every day kept fighting, kept getting a little stronger.
She definitely fought to be here.
Then they took a picture of her brain and saw that the ventricles were expanding. There was too much fluid. They rushed us to Akron, and the eye doctor came in and said that they thought her retina was detaching, and so they rushed us up to Cleveland. We were up there for 5 weeks. If her retina detaches, she's gonna go blind. 5 weeks later, he did do a laser surgery, and then he sent us back to Akron, and she had a shunt placed from her brain down into her stomach to kind of keep that fluid draining.
Because of the bleeding in her brain tells her eyes to hang out real low. We didn't even think she could see. In the last few months, they've started to slow down and they're starting to come up. If you get underneath her, you can catch a smile from her, so we think she can see.
She does have to wear oxygen, just a little tube that goes across her nose. Megan does a great job monitoring what her oxygen saturation is throughout the night and during the day when she's napping.
We don't really know the prognosis of her, brain and her development. Kind of waiting and
praying
and trusting that she'll just keep getting better.
They call Riley like $1 million baby, with all of her time in the hospitals. So when all of this happened, we didn't really have anything saved.
We knew that we had insurance, but we didn't know what all it would cover.
The concern was, how was he going to get to work safely, and how was I going to make the hour drive to Akron every day to see Riley? And then when she came home, how are we going to transport her to all these appointments?
NEOPAT asked, is there anything that we can help you with? We said we do need a car.
We needed a stroller to be able to carry her and all of her things.
And at a time when you need help, to know that there are people out there who are willing to help you and so generous is very encouraging. Yeah, NEOPAT gave me that peace of mind that while I'm at work and Megan's driving Riley around to her appointments, that she's not going to break down, and that she's safe and she's in a good car.
And we were able to get a Rogue, which is really cool because Finley's middle name is Rogue, and so it's kind of like a little piece of her driving around with us everywhere we go. Made a really stressful situation not that stressful at all. In fact, it made coming home quite exciting to be able to take her home in that new car. It was very fun.
I was so blessed that just because I was in the military and I lived in Ohio, that they were willing to help us out in any way, and really came through for us in a huge way when we really needed help.
NEOPAT giving us funds, giving us a car, helped you to remember that you're not going through this alone, and it blows us away, but then being able to tell our story and how people have helped us is pretty amazing.
Little.
That's our story.